hand grabbed the front of a dress and yanked hard. Fabric ripped straight down the middle. The girl stumbled backward into a folding table, and a full punch bowl crashed to the floor. Glass went everywhere. Red juice spread across the gym tiles. 3 students stood around her in a half circle. 2 boys. 1 girl. All of them laughing. The music was still playing. 200 people in that room, and not a single one moved. She stood there, arms crossed over her chest, torn dress hanging open. For about 5 seconds or so, every person watching thought she was finished. They thought she would cry. They thought she would run. They were wrong. Her name was Maya Castillo. She was 17. She had trained in Muay Thai since she was 11. What happened next left an entire gymnasium in dead silence. Stay with me on this one. 3 hours before that dress ripped, Maya Castillo was standing in front of her bathroom mirror, trying to convince herself to stay home. She had the excuse ready. Headache, cramps, anything her mom would believe. Prom was never her thing. Dances were never her thing. Big crowds, loud music, boys in rented suits pretending to be men. She wanted no part of it. But Janelle wouldn't let it go. Janelle Torres had been Maya's best friend since freshman year. She was loud where Maya was quiet. She was bold where Maya was careful. And she had been texting all afternoon with the same message over and over. You're going. I didn't spend $40 on your corsage for you to sit on your couch watching crime documentaries. So Maya went. She wore a dark green dress her mom had picked out from a thrift store on Figueroa. Fit well. Nothing fancy. No sequins, no slit, no heels she couldn't walk in. She wore flat black shoes because flat black shoes made sense. Her hair was down, which was rare. She looked good. She knew she looked good. She just didn't want anyone else to notice. That was the thing about Maya. She had spent 4 years at Lincoln High trying not to be seen. Not because she was afraid. Because being seen meant being pulled into things. Drama, gossip, attention from people who didn't actually care about her. She kept her head down, did her work, sat in the back row, and left every day through the side door near the parking lot. Nobody at that school knew what she did after the last bell rang. 3 days a week, Maya took the 42 bus to a gym on Alameda called Iron Lotus. It was a Muay Thai gym, not a fitness studio with punching bags and pop music. A real gym, cracked mirrors, duct tape on the heavy bags, a ring with ropes that sagged in the middle. The owner and head trainer was a woman named Kira Boone. She was 38, competed professionally for a decade, and had a scar across the bridge of her nose from a fight in Thailand she won by decision. Maya had started training there when she was 11. Her older cousin brought her in after a boy at her middle school grabbed her backpack and threw it into traffic. Her cousin said, "You're not going to be the girl who lets that happen twice." 6 years later, Maya could throw a roundhouse kick that would buckle a grown man's legs. She could slip a punch, close distance, and land an elbow strike in under 2 seconds. Her shins were conditioned. Her hands were rough. She had calluses on her knuckles that she covered with lotion so nobody would ask questions. But she never talked about it. Not at school. Not online. Not even with Janelle, who only knew Maya did some kickboxing thing on weekday afternoons. Now, let me tell you about Derek Hollis. Derek was a senior, varsity wrestler at 195 pounds. Tall, wide, and used to being the biggest person in any room. He had a face that looked like it was always a little annoyed, and a reputation for getting what he wanted. Girls, parking spots, the last word in every argument. His dad was a contractor who donated money to the school's athletics program every year, which meant Derek operated with a kind of immunity that everyone could see but nobody would name. He had 2 people who followed him everywhere. Tyler Briggs, who wrestled at 170 and had been suspended twice for fighting. And Brenna Cole, who wasn't physically dangerous but was surgically cruel. She was the one who filmed things. She was the one who posted things. She was the one who made sure your worst moment lived forever online. These 3 walked into prom like they owned the building. And honestly, in a way, they did. About 40 minutes into the dance, Maya was standing near the back wall with Janelle, sipping a cup of that red punch, watching people dance, feeling like maybe this wasn't so bad after all. The music was decent. The decorations were cheap but kind of charming. Janelle was making her laugh by ranking every boy's suit from 1 to 10. Then Derek walked over. He didn't ask Maya to dance the way a normal person would. He just appeared in front of her, looked her up and down and said, "You're coming with me." Maya said no. She said it simply, not rude, not dramatic. Just no thanks. Derek didn't move. He smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. It was the kind of smile that says, "I'm going to give you one more chance to change your answer." Maya didn't change her answer. That's when the air shifted. Janelle felt it. The two girls standing nearby felt it. Derek's smile dropped and he turned around and walked straight back to Tyler and Brenna. And the three of them started talking, looking over at Maya, pointing, laughing. Something was coming. Maya could feel it. She just didn't know what. For the next 20 minutes, nothing happened. That was the worst part. Maya stood with Janelle, tried to enjoy the music, tried to act like Derek's little performance hadn't rattled her. But she kept tracking him. Not obviously. Just the way Kira had trained her to track a sparring partner. Peripheral vision. Body positioning. Where are they? What direction are they moving? What are their hands doing? Derek was across the gym near the DJ booth, leaning against the wall with Tyler. Brenna was a few feet away, her phone already out, already filming something, always filming something. They weren't looking at Maya anymore. They were laughing about something else. Or at least that's what it looked like. Janelle grabbed Maya's arm. "Stop watching them." "You said no. He's a big boy. He'll get over it." Maya nodded. "Yeah, you're right." But she wasn't right. And Maya knew it. Boys like Derek didn't get over it. They got even. It happened at the worst possible time. Janelle left to use the bathroom. Maya was alone near the bleachers on the far side of the gym, away from the dance floor, away from the speakers, away from the chaperones. She had drifted there without thinking about it. Quiet corner. Felt safer. It wasn't. Derek appeared from her left. Tyler came from the right. She didn't see Brenna until it was too late. Brenna was already behind her. Phone raised. The little red recording light glowing in the dark. "Hey," Derek said. Casual. Like they were old friends. "You embarrassed me out there." Maya didn't respond. She shifted her weight to her back foot. It was instinct. A fighting stance disguised as a normal step backward. "I asked you nice," Derek continued. "In front of people. And you just said no like I'm nobody." "I just didn't want to dance," Maya said. Her voice was steady. Quiet but steady. "See, that's the problem." Derek stepped closer. "You think you're better than everybody. Walking around the school like a ghost. Not talking to anyone. Acting like you're above all this." Tyler laughed. That short, ugly laugh that people do when they're performing for someone else. Derek reached out and grabbed Maya's wrist. Not gently. His hand closed around it like a clamp. She could feel the bones in her forearm compress. Kira's voice flashed through her head. "If someone grabs your wrist, you rotate and strip it. Thumb goes over their thumb. Pull and twist." But Maya didn't move. Not yet. Because there were 200 people in this gym and she absolutely knew, that if she hit Derek Hollis, she would be the one who got blamed. So she tried to pull away. Just pull away. Simple. Derek didn't let go. He yanked her forward instead. Her flat shoes slid on the polished gym floor. She stumbled into him. "See?" he said, loud enough for the people nearby to hear. "She's all over me." Now here's the thing. Across the gym, Janelle had just come out of the bathroom. She saw what was happening. She started pushing through the crowd, shouting Maya's name. But Tyler moved. He didn't touch Janelle. He just stood in her path. A wall of muscle blocking the gap between two clusters of students. Janelle screamed at him to move. He didn't. Brenna circled to a better angle. She wanted a clear shot. She wanted the video that would go viral by midnight. Derek grabbed the front of Maya's dress with his other hand. He pulled. The fabric was cheap. Thrift store stitching. It didn't stand a chance. The dress ripped straight down the middle from the neckline to her stomach. The sound cut through the music. A sharp, clean tear that made people turn and stare. Maya fell backward. Her hip hit a folding table. The punch bowl slid, tipped, and shattered on the gym floor. Red punch splashed across the tiles and across Maya's legs and across the shoes of the students closest to her. She was on the floor now, arms crossed over her chest, torn dress hanging open, 200 people staring. Brenna's phone recording every second. And then a voice broke through. "Hey, back away from her. Now." Coach Delgado. He was the gym's faculty chaperone that night. 45 years old, former Marine, built like a fire hydrant. He shoved through the crowd and pointed straight at Derek. "Back up. All of you, back up right now." The music cut. Someone hit the kill switch on the speakers. The gym went silent except for the crunch of broken glass under Coach Delgado's shoes. Derek raised his hands. Palms out. The innocent routine. "We were just messing around, Coach." She tripped. Tyler nodded. She fell into the table. "We were trying to help." Brenna lowered her phone, slipped it into her clutch, smiled. Coach Delgado didn't buy it. Not for a second. He took off his jacket and draped it over Maya's shoulders. He helped her stand. He looked at Derek and said, "Don't move. I'm calling the front office." He walked Maya to the bleachers. She sat down. She pulled the jacket tight around herself. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline, from the chemical flood that hits your bloodstream when your body wants to fight and your brain says no. Coach Delgado crouched in front of her. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. "Stay here. I'm going to handle this." He stood up and pulled out his phone, walked 10 feet away and started dialing. Janelle finally broke past Tyler and ran to Maya's side. She sat next to her, put an arm around her, and whispered, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get through." Maya said nothing. She just sat there, wrapped in that oversized jacket, staring at the red punch on the gym floor. The crisis was over. At least that's how it looked. An adult had intervened. The music was off. Derek was standing in place, Tyler next to him, both of them wearing that practiced expression of bored innocence. Brenna had wandered toward the exit, checking her phone, looking like she was already texting about it. Felt handled. Felt like the system had worked. A teacher stepped in. The bad guys got caught. The girl was safe. Maya almost believed it too. She took a slow breath, let her shoulders drop, watched Coach Delgado pacing near the door with his phone pressed to his ear. For about 30 seconds, the gym was calm. Then Derek leaned in. He took 2 steps toward the bleachers, casual, like he was just stretching his legs. Coach Delgado had his back turned, still on the phone. Tyler shifted just enough to block the sight line from the nearest group of students. Brenna had stopped walking toward the exit. She turned around. Her phone was back in her hand. Derek sat down on the bleacher 1 row below Maya. He didn't look at her. He looked straight ahead. And he said something so quiet that only Maya could hear it. "When this is over, I'm going to find Janelle in the parking lot. And I'm going to make what just happened to you look like nothing." Maya's whole body went still. This is where it changed. Believe me, this is where the entire story turned into something else. Up until that moment, Maya had been the target. She was the one absorbing the damage. She could take that. She'd been taking it for years. Being invisible, being overlooked, being grabbed and torn and humiliated. She had spent her whole life learning how to absorb hits. But Janelle? No. That was a different calculation. That wasn't pride anymore. That wasn't humiliation. That was a direct threat to someone she loved. And Maya Castillo did not absorb those. She stood up. The jacket fell off her shoulders. She didn't pick it up. She didn't fix her torn dress. She didn't look at Janelle. She looked directly at Derek, who was now turning to face her with that same dead smile from the dance floor. "Say it again," Maya said. Derek laughed. He actually laughed. He stood up slowly, the way big guys do when they want you to appreciate how much bigger they are. He had 7 inches and at least 80 pounds on her. In his world, that was the end of the conversation. "Or what?" he said. Maya shifted her weight. Left foot forward. Right foot angled back at 45 degrees. Her hands came up, not in fists but open. Palms facing forward. A guard position that anyone who trains recognizes instantly and anyone who doesn't would never notice. Tyler moved in from the right side. He put his hand on Maya's shoulder. "Sit down, freak." She didn't sit down. What happened next took less than 4 seconds. But everyone in that gym would remember it for the rest of their lives. Maya grabbed Tyler's wrist with her left hand, rotated it outward, and drove her right elbow into his ribs. It was a short, compact strike. Not a wild swing. A trained, targeted shot to the floating ribs. Tyler doubled over. The air came out of him in a sound like a cough and a groan combined. He staggered sideways and sat down hard on the bleacher. Derek lunged forward. He reached for Maya with both hands the way a wrestler would. Grab, clinch, take her down. That was his training. That was his instinct. But Maya wasn't there. She stepped left. Just one step. A small pivot that took her completely off his line. Derek's hands closed on empty air and his momentum carried him forward. He stumbled. And for 1/2 second, his right side was completely open. Maya's right leg came around in a full arc. She pivoted on her left foot, her hip rotated through, and the top of her shin connected with the side of Derek's jaw. A textbook roundhouse kick. The kind Kira made her drill 200 times a week. The kind that uses the entire body, not just the leg. Hip, core, shoulder rotation. Everything moving in one direction, all the force delivered to one point. The sound was sharp, like a heavy book dropped flat on a hardwood floor. Derek's head snapped sideways. His legs gave out. He dropped to one knee, then to both knees, then his hands hit the gym floor. He stayed there, palms flat on the tile, head hanging, not unconscious but not getting up. The gym went dead silent. 200 people, teachers, students, the DJ, the photographer, all of them standing perfectly still, staring at a girl in a torn green dress who had just dropped the biggest kid in school with a single kick. Brenna screamed. Not a word, just a sound. She dropped her phone. It hit the floor face down and skidded under the bleachers. Now if you're still with me, hit that subscribe button. Because what happened after the kick made everything 10 times worse. Coach Delgado came running. He grabbed Maya by the arm, not rough but firm, and pulled her away from Derek. "What did you do? What did you just do?" Maya didn't answer. Her breathing was controlled. Steady. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The way Kira taught her to breathe after a fight. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't crying. She was calm in a way that made Coach Delgado more nervous, not less. 2 other teachers arrived. One went to Derek, who was still on his knees, holding the side of his face. The other went to Tyler, who was sitting on the bleachers with his arms wrapped around his midsection. And then someone in the back of the gym shouted for words that changed everything. Brenna was filming it. The whole room turned toward Brenna. She was on her hands and knees, reaching under the bleachers for her phone. She froze, like an animal caught in headlights. Every eye in the gym was on her. A girl named Destiny Wells, who sat behind Maya in AP English and had never spoken to her once, walked over to the bleachers. She crouched down, picked up Brenna's phone, and held it up. "It's still recording," Destiny said. The room erupted. Not in chaos, in noise. Everyone talking at once. Students pulling out their own phones. A teacher yelling for everyone to stay calm. Janelle standing next to Maya, gripping her arm, saying, "Don't say anything. Don't say a single word until we see what's on that video." But here's the thing about video. It doesn't just record what the person behind the camera wants. It records everything. Brenna had started filming long before the kick. She'd been filming when Derek grabbed Maya's wrist. She'd been filming when he ripped her dress. She'd been filming when Tyler blocked Janelle. She thought she was collecting ammunition against Maya. Instead, she had recorded every single thing they did to her. And that video was about to go everywhere. Within 5 minutes, 3 different students had airdropped copies. Within 15 minutes, it was on Twitter. Within an hour, it had 8,000 views and a hashtag that hadn't existed 20 minutes earlier. The school's plan to quietly handle this just died on the gym floor right next to Derek Hollis. By midnight, the video had 200,000 views. By morning, it had crossed 1 million. The comments section split into two camps almost immediately. Most people saw exactly what happened. A girl said no. A group of students cornered her. They grabbed her. They ripped her clothes. She fought back. But a loud minority saw something else. They saw a girl assault a boy. They saw a kick that could have caused brain damage. They saw someone who should be arrested. Derek's parents called the police at 6 in the morning. His father, Rick Hollis, showed up at the station with a lawyer and a photograph of his son's swollen jaw. He demanded assault charges against Maya. He said his son had been attacked without provocation at a school event. He said there were witnesses. He said there was video. He was right about the video. He just hadn't watched all of it. Maya's mother, Carmen Castillo, got the call from the school at 7. She didn't panic. She called Kira first. Then she called a lawyer her brother knew from church, a woman named Adriana Reyes who handled civil rights cases in the district. The three of them drove to Lincoln High together. The principal's office that Monday morning was standing room only. Principal Okafor sat behind her desk looking like she hadn't slept. Coach Delgado stood against the wall with his arms crossed. Rick Hollis and his lawyer sat on one side. Maya, her mother, Kira, and Adriana Reyes sat on the other. Tyler's parents were in the hallway. Brenna's mother had refused to come. Rick Hollis went first. His lawyer laid out the case in clean, simple terms. His son had been struck in the face with a kick that could have broken his jaw. His son was a minor. This happened on school property. He wanted Maya expelled and he wanted criminal charges filed. Principal Okafor nodded. Then she turned to Adriana Reyes and said, "Your response." Adriana didn't make a speech. She reached into her bag, pulled out a tablet, and pressed play. The video started 30 seconds before the dress rip. You could see Derek approach Maya near the bleachers. You could see Tyler positioning himself to block Janelle. You could hear Derek's voice, muffled but clear enough. "You embarrassed me out there." You could see him grab her wrist. You could see the yank. You could hear the fabric tear. You could see Maya hit the table and the punch bowl shatter and the red juice spread across the floor. Nobody in that room said a word. Adriana let the video play all the way through. Past the rip. Past Coach Delgado's intervention. Past the moment on the bleachers when Derek leaned in close to Maya. You couldn't hear what he whispered, but you could see Maya's face change. You could see her go from defeated to something else entirely. Then came the kick. Adriana paused the video. She looked at Rick Hollis and said, "Your son committed sexual assault on school property. It's on camera, from multiple angles, uploaded by his own accomplice. My client defended herself after a direct physical attack and a verbal threat. If you'd like to press charges, we will file a counterclaim for assault, sexual harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And we'll do it publicly." The room went quiet. Rick Hollis looked at his lawyer. His lawyer looked at the table. Principal Okafor cleared her throat. "I've reviewed the footage independently. I've also spoken with 11 students who were present. Their accounts are consistent with what the video shows." She read her decision out loud. Derek Hollis was suspended for the remainder of the school year. He would not be permitted to walk at graduation. A formal harassment complaint would be filed with the district and forwarded to the police department. Tyler Briggs received the same suspension and a referral for his role in physically blocking another student from intervening. Brenna Cole was suspended for 2 weeks and required to surrender her phone to administration for the ongoing investigation. Derek's father stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. "This is garbage. My son's the one with a swollen jaw." Coach Delgado spoke for the first time. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Your son ripped a girl's dress off in front of 200 people. Rick, sit down." Rick Hollis left without sitting down. His lawyer followed. Maya sat through the whole thing without speaking. Not because she had nothing to say. Because Adriana had told her before the meeting, "You don't need to defend yourself today. The video does that. You just need to be present." After the Hollises left, Principal Okafor looked directly at Maya. "I owe you an apology. This should never have happened. Not in my school." Maya nodded. That was all. But Kira spoke. She stood up slowly, And when she talked, the whole room listened. I've trained Maya for 6 years. She is the most disciplined student I have ever worked with. What she did in that gym was not violence. It was a measured, controlled defensive response to a physical threat. She used the minimum force necessary to stop an attacker who outweighed her by 80 pounds. If she had wanted to hurt him, believe me, he wouldn't have walked out of that gym. Carmen Castillo put her hand on her daughter's shoulder. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Outside the principal's office, the hallway was full. Not with troublemakers or gossips. With students. Dozens of them. Standing quietly against the lockers, waiting. When Maya walked out, nobody cheered. Nobody clapped. A girl Maya had never spoken to caught her eye and gave a single nod. Then another. Then another. It wasn't applause. It was recognition. The kind that doesn't make noise. Janelle was waiting at the end of the hall. She didn't say a word. She just grabbed Maya's hand and walked with her toward the exit. Behind them, someone had taped a printout to the wall next to the gym door. A still frame from the video. Maya, mid-kick, torn dress and all. Her right leg fully extended, her face completely calm. Someone had written underneath it in black marker. She said no. 3 weeks later, Maya walked back into Lincoln High on a Monday morning. She had taken time off. Not because the school told her to, because her mother said she needed it, and for once Maya didn't argue. She spent those 3 weeks training at Iron Lotus, eating dinner with her mom, and ignoring her phone. The video was still circulating. The hashtag was still trending. News outlets had called. Podcast wanted an interview. A women's self-defense organization in Los Angeles offered to fly her out for an event. She said no to all of it. Kira asked her why. Maya said, "Because I didn't do it for an audience." That was the truth. And Kira, who had spent 10 years competing in front of crowds and cameras, understood it completely. Some things aren't performances. Some things happen because you had no other choice, and turning them into content feels like giving away something that belongs to you. So Maya came back to school quietly. No announcement. No escort. She walked through the front doors at 7:45 on a Monday, wearing jeans, a gray sweatshirt, and the same flat black shoes she had worn to prom. Her hair was up in a ponytail. Her backpack was over one shoulder. She looked like any other student. But the hallway noticed. It wasn't dramatic. Nobody stopped and stared. Nobody pointed. But there was a shift. A small, unmistakable recognition that moved through the crowd the way a ripple moves through water. People stepped aside just a little. Not out of fear. Out of something closer to respect. A few students nodded at her. One boy she'd never spoken to said, "Welcome back." A girl from her chemistry class touched her arm gently as she passed and said, "We missed you." Maya nodded, kept walking. Janelle was waiting at her locker. She had a coffee from the gas station across the street, the kind with too much sugar that Maya pretended to hate but always finished. She handed it over and said, "You ready for this?" "No," Maya said, "but I'm here." Good enough. The first 2 periods were normal. Surprisingly, almost painfully normal. Teachers taught. Students took notes. Nobody brought up the video. Nobody asked her about Derek. It was as if the school had collectively agreed to let her have a regular day. And Maya was grateful for that. At lunch, she sat with Janelle in their usual spot near the back of the cafeteria. They talked about a movie Janelle had watched over the weekend. They talked about college applications. They talked about Janelle's younger brother, who had just started playing soccer and was terrible at it in a way that was genuinely entertaining. For 30 minutes, everything felt the way it used to feel. Before prom. Before Derek. Before 200 people watched her world rip open under fluorescent lights. Then Principal Okafor's voice came over the intercom. "Maya Castillo, please come to the main office." Janelle looked at her. "Want me to come?" Maya shook her head. "I got it." She walked to the office expecting paperwork. Maybe a follow-up meeting about the investigation. Maybe something about the district's final ruling on Derek, which she had heard was being escalated beyond the school level. It wasn't any of that. Principal Okafor was standing behind her desk with a woman Maya didn't recognize. She was young, maybe late 20s, wearing a blazer and holding a folder. "Maya, this is Laura Chin. She's the district's coordinator for student wellness programs." Laura smiled. "I'll get right to the point. The district is launching a self-defense and personal safety elective for underclassmen starting next semester. We've been planning it for a while, but recent events accelerated the timeline. We'd like to offer your trainer, Kira Boone, a consulting role in designing the curriculum, and we'd like you to be the student liaison. You'd help shape the program, attend planning meetings, and eventually co-lead some of the sessions." Maya didn't say anything for a long moment. She looked at Principal Okafor, who nodded. "You don't have to decide now," Laura said. "No," Maya said. "I want to do it." She called Kira that afternoon. Kira laughed. Not a small laugh. A big, full laugh, the kind Maya almost never heard from her. "They want me to come into a high school and teach kids how to throw elbows? They want you to teach them how to feel safe," Maya said. Kira went quiet. Then she said, "Yeah, okay, I'm in." The first session happened 3 weeks later. 22 students signed up. Then the wait list hit 40. They moved it from the small gym to the main one. The same gym where the punch bowl had shattered and the music had died and a girl in a torn green dress had thrown a kick that changed her life. Maya stood in the center of that gym on the first day of the program. She was wearing her training shorts and a black tank top and her wrist wraps, the ones she used to hide in her locker. She wasn't hiding them anymore. She didn't make a speech. Kira handled the introduction. Maya just stood there and looked at the 22 students sitting cross-legged on the mats in front of her. Some of them were nervous. Some of them were excited. A few of them had that look she recognized from her own reflection 6 years ago. The look that says, "Something happened to me, and I don't ever want to feel that helpless again." Maya understood that look better than anyone. She took a breath, rolled her shoulders, stepped forward. "Okay," she said. "First thing, everybody stand up." They stood. "Good. Now make a fist." "No, not like that. Like this." She showed them. They followed. 22 fists, tight and correct, held up in front of 22 students who had come here to learn what Maya had already learned the hard way. That you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to be the biggest. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. But when someone puts their hands on you and you have said no, you have every right to make sure they hear it. The gym was full again. The lights were on. And this time, Maya Castillo was not on the floor. She was the one teaching people how to stand up.